Hello once again, this is Tim Williams, a member of the New Olive Church of Christ, and preach at least part-time at Stroud Church of Christ, and still continuing our series on walking with God and keeping our eyes on Jesus. How many of you have heard of George Britton Little? Probably not too many people, and unless you was born in the 1840s in Kentucky, where he was, you probably wouldn't know him at all, but you might know him if you studied history as Dick Fellows, who was a famous outlaw in California in the late 1860s. Well, George Britton Little from Kentucky, for a time studied law and he became a lawyer. And for a time that's what he did, but he succumbed to alcoholism. Well, he made his way to California in the late 1860s and tried to lead a law-abiding life. But alcoholism once again ruined his attempt, so he took up stagecoach robbery, and he was successful for a time. He was a successful stagecoach robber, and in fact, stagecoaches was in fear of him because of his success. He was caught while in town. He was arrested because someone recognized him from a wanted poster. And in 1870, while he was interned in San Quentin, Dick Fellows dried out and became a model prisoner. The authorities pardoned him in 1875. Dick Fellows again tried, but unsuccessful to lead a law-abiding life. Alcoholism once again took control, and once again Dick Fellows went back into stagecoach robbery. Now, the last time he tried to rob a stage, it failed when he tried to rob a Wells Fargo shipment that had $240,000 worth of gold. While waiting for the stage, his horse that he had stolen threw him and knocked him unconscious for several hours. Undeterred, Dick Fellows decided to rob the stage on the way back. He robbed it successfully, but while putting the strongbox on the horse ran away, leaving Fellows carrying the strongbox. He trips and either falls into a pit or over a small cliff, and he breaks his leg. So Dick Fellows, though, continues on and finds tools to break open the strongbox and another horse to steal. Well, Fellows makes his way with $1,800, but the horse he steals has two different types of horseshoes on him and leaves a significant trail, and Fellows is caught. And now this is his third time to be incarcerated. And the authorities had enough. And they sentence him to life in prison. And while in prison, Fellows dries out and becomes a model prisoner, teaching fellow prisoners academic courses, and is said to even teach Sunday school. Now you may be thinking, why bring this up? What does this person have to do with you and I? Well, it's simple, isn't it? We have so many things in our lives that will grab our attention, and very few of them are worth having our attention. Very few of those things will keep us in focus with God. But they'll grab our attention, excuse me, and they will lead us away from God. Dick Fellows attention was in alcoholism. Oh, he tried and tried, like so many other people that get caught up in drugs and alcohol, or some other form of something like that, illicit drugs. But it's hard to overcome those things, isn't it? Even someone who overcomes tobacco has a hard time forever leaving tobacco. It's that strong of addiction. I know. I used to smoke. And yet, sometimes, well, not so much now, but at first it was a strong pull at me to try to get me to smoke again. But you have to say no. And you have to abide by that. Just like anything else, just like even with anger issues. There are many people out there that has anger issues, and as soon as something happens that doesn't go their way, they're mad and they get angry and they lose control. Alcoholism was Dick Fellows' downfall, wasn't it? If it hadn't been for alcoholism, Dick Fellows might have been just George Britton Little, a lawyer in Kentucky, and probably would never be anything, not even a footnote in history, except for maybe someone somewhere might say, that George Britton Little was a great lawyer. But he probably would have just went through life and through history not even known about, like so many of us. The Hebrew writer in Hebrews chapter 12, 1 through 2, he says, "Let us also lay aside every encumbrance and sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race set before us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith, who, for the joy set before him, endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand at the throne of God." How are you running the race? How are you overcoming the obstacles that get in your way, and how are you overcoming the things that glitter and that grab your attention, that wants to pull you away from God? Something that you and I have to learn to do. George Britton Little failed until he was no longer able to be around those things. Sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes it takes being away from what causes you to stumble to overcome that temptation. And it's never easy. I hope you're running the race good. I hope you have endurance. And I hope you have fixed your eyes on Jesus, because he is actually, like the scripture says, our author. He was tempted in every way like you and I. And yet he overcame because he had strength in God, and he had faith that God the Father would make everything right. And he had that conviction. That's what you and I need. That conviction to put our trust in God to get us through the tough times. It won't ever be easy, but it can be done. I hope you stay safe, and I hope you stay healthy. And for those of you who I know, who watch this and that I know and that I associate with, I hope to see you soon in person. Thank you.